The undeniable appeal of alternate universe or AU banners in Love and Deepspace, and I'm about to tell you exactly why in this particular video. Welcome back, my fellow darling flowers of Linkon. So in this particular video, we're going to dive into the, undeniable charm and appeal of something that is not existing in the present timeline of Love in Deepspace, or alternate universes as we like to call them. Now, this banner, Tomorrow's Catch 22, came out in February of this year 2025, and while not most, I would say most or some of the players were expecting something fluffy, cute and wholesome, instead they gave us BDSM whips and chains-esque themed Valentine's Day, which I am not complaining. I am a lover of both, like really hardcore and dark themes as well as the fluffy, soft, cute stuff. So I am a lover of both styles. Like I am like it's like two sides of the same coin to me. So I love the appeal of both, but it was released at a very rather, controversial time, because it was around the same time when a lot of the Silas girlies were advocating for a boycott because of the lack of Silas content. And then of course it was just the second month of Caleb's release, so people were obviously fearful that Caleb was also going to end up receiving the same treatment. Also, the very clear fact that they ended up separating these gorgeous wolf cut or mullet hairstyles that the guys have on in these cards, as you can see. They ended up separating them into a separate box. Like the outfit was separate and the hairstyle is separate. Basically, you had to pull an additional 10 more times if you wanted to get the hairstyles. So this is actually the first multi-banner that I got all 5 of the guys. I started playing in Misty Invasion last year, but this was the first multi-banner where I genuinely enjoyed thoroughly all of the stories. So I have all 5 of the cards and 3 hairstyles and 3 outfits for 3 of the guys. And honestly, I will kid you not when I say that this banner was absolute cinema. And a lot of players seem to agree, which is why this post on Reddit caught my eye. So as always, a huge shout out and thanks to all of the wonderful Redditors that post their thoughts and opinions for us to view. Without further ado, let us dive into the Reddit post and some of the comments that stood out to me. The post reads, "Will we ever get an epic AU or alternate universe story like Tomorrow's Catch 22 again? I was seriously blown away when we had the Catch 22 banner and really enjoyed the unique alternate universe or AU story. I really was hoping that Infold would give us more like that. But it's been months. Do you think they will, or was it a one-off thing?" This comment reads, "Do not get me started on how iconic this banner was." Absolutely. For all the controversy it attracted, this still was and is my favorite multi-banner this year by far. It had the whole fandom divided and forced users critiquing Caleb's actions in the main story to think if they had the same reaction when the other love interests portrayed similar questionable behaviors. There was discourse regarding the outfits, the mullets or the beautiful wolf cuts, the accessories, the memes we got from this banner, top tier. Its impact needs to be studied, but I really hope Infold invests more time in banners like Tomorrow's Catch 22. The storyline was intricate, cohesive, and the minigame was so much fun. I agree. The creative team absolutely nailed it with this one. The next up, this player says, "I started during this banner, so I had no reference from multis. Therefore, I thought they were all this iconic. Not to mention how long the 5-star cards were. Oh my god, I need something like this again. Not saying that the banners we've had since then haven't been amazing, but this was absolute peak cinema." This player says, "I hope so, but many people hated on this AU at the time, so I don't know if Infold will give it another chance. In bracket, I was skeptical at first, but was blown away by Raphael and Xavier's stories. In bracket, Raph's cause it was epic cinema and Xav's cause he was cute and funny and hot all at the same time. But I'm biased." Another comment reads, "Most likely nothing similar because this multi absolutely tanked in CN. I liked the AU premise a lot, and while I'm still not a fan of the mullets, bracket never have been, never will be, the story itself was so good. It was the first time I felt compelled to pull all cards aside from my normal R3 Silas. I think we will get AU or different timeline banners in the future, but nothing like this with them decked out in leather chains and restrained. ETA. Catch 22 was the first time a banner performed better globally compared to CN, which meant it wasn't successful for Infold." Another response reads, "I was under the impression that it didn't go as well in China because of the sudden tactic used by Infold to separate every single clothing item. That is, the clothes are in a separate crate and the hairstyles in another separate crate." Then this player says, "The timing was just not it. Had it been released around Halloween, even in CN, it probably would have done better and the overall reaction would have been less divisive. The shock expecting something for Valentine's and then ending up with something more akin to Halloween was just too abrupt. Heck, I would have pulled myself had it been during Halloween. But for Valentine's, I was just so utterly disappointed. It was the only multi-banner I did not pull for since the game launched. Another comment reads, "Who knows? I wouldn't blame them if they don't due to the initial outcome. I don't know how successful it was, but it was controversial in the fandom, yet many players ended up giving it acclaim even almost a year later. I think some people also forget this wasn't just experimental aesthetics in an alternate reality. These cards were giving a lot of foreshadowing and lore, actually so true. So if the writing department has something else like that up their sleeve, then maybe." This player says, "I can't wait for another AU. This was such an awesome banner and I need a rockstar/idol AU, wizard AU, prince AU, Infold, please and thank you. My free-to-play soul would be so happy." Another comment reads, "It was around 45 million in revenue, I would say, before some months ago. The average was like 55 to 60 million. This is actually so true because all of the banners before this was making anywhere between 50, 70, 90, 80 million in revenue or somewhere in that range as the commenter said. And then that was the lowest revenue at that point of time. Another player said, "Why was this so controversial? Unfortunately, I started after, but I think I'll cave and watch the story because I don't know when/if this reruns this year." In response, this player says, "The guys were not quite themselves due to various reasons, which you will understand if/when you watch the stories. The fandom were really upset when their fave allies were acting quote-unquote out of character, but that was what made it really interesting, that they would have that side of themselves if they had lived a different life and forced to make difficult decisions." I 100% wholeheartedly agree with that. Another response reads, "I think a lot of it had to do with it dropping during Valentine's Day week. I feel like a lot of players were disappointed that we didn't get fluffy, cute dates and instead we got madness. I was one of those players that was looking forward to a fluffy Valentine's Day for last year, but when I watched the trailer, I just thought, well, why not? Let's spice things up for Valentine's. But I'm usually just going with the flow and don't really take things too seriously, so I got over it quickly." This player says, "Mostly because of number one, the timing. It was around Valentine's. People fully expected fluff, so this was quite the whiplash. And number two, because Infold decided to separate cosmetics in this banner and getting the hair crate required 10 more pulls. The only other banner that had multiple cosmetic elements was the Cat Butler banner from Yes Cat Caretaker, which happened in November of 2024 last year. And the ears and tail were all separate elements, but yet they were all still included in one single outfit crate. So separating the hair from the outfit was a blatant cash grab and very unpopular. As for the theme, most people I've seen loved it once the shock of the theme whiplash wore off. The cards and stories are super high quality and the memoria are over an hour long. For me personally, it took 1 hour 20 minutes or 1 hour 30 minutes to read each card personally, which is one of the most praised elements of this banner. Not to mention, all these cards from tomorrow's Catch 22 come with two endings, a good ending and a bad ending on top of the extremely lengthy stories, which is a huge bonus. Another player says, "I don't know if this is your first Sci-Fi Otome, but we will get many more AU banners. Infold's other Otome game literally have a plethora of AU banners from pirate themed to vampire themed. I think we all need to keep in mind that this game is still in its beginning stages. We are not even halfway into the story yet. We have a very, very long way to go and tons more banners to see." This player says, "Many of my most favorite MLQC banners have been AU, from the pirates to the gods to the ghosts to the absolute legendary fallen angels. Lucian's fallen angel is my loading screen. The basic story, Lucian is a fallen angel and the MC is his guard overseeing his torture before his execution. We have some incredible stuff coming up too. The moment I saw the PV for tomorrow's Catch 22, I was delighted. I love alternate universes. Anyway, here's Mr. Love Queen's Choice or MLQC's Lucian's Fallen Angel. Excuse me while I have a moment." This is the delicious photo of Lucian which they attached, so sharing it for your viewing pleasure right here. Now then, another player said, "One of the most original and interesting banners so far. It got us unhinged Zane, and that, along with Tamino's bombing a freaking building, was my all-time favorite. Hope they do a vampire/underworld theme next." Ooh, I love that. Me too. Then this player says, oh, I definitely want more of these. While I still love Caleb's cards from the spring and summer banners, let's just say the themes are sorta, well, vanilla. The base material doesn't really do Infold's writers much justice. We've seen time and time again how good they are with darker, more adult material. They really blew it out of the water with the likes of Catch 22. The storylines and themes explored with each ally all had their own unique touches. I truly enjoyed each and every card, even for the love interests I don't main. And this is coming from someone who was pretty negative when the trailer first came out, had me doing a whole 180. So this upcoming comment might contain very tiny mini spoilers, so just a gentle word of caution. Anyhow, this player says, these cards really felt like short movies and were so satisfying because they have very interesting completed alternative storylines that are very long and offer alternative endings like the other Otome games. Furthermore, the stories leaned more into a mix between sci-fi and investigation like Tokyo Ghoul, which was super suspenseful and different from all the fantasy-like banners so far. Each Catch 22 card for all the love interests lets you discover sides to them and even their MCs that aren't often seen otherwise and show the extent of their complexity. We don't have any love interest being younger than MC so far, but in Catch 22, it was cool to have a dynamic where MC is the experienced senior at work and Xavier is her junior. And MC's dynamic with Raphael felt like she was a tough business lady who takes in a troubled youth from the streets, like in the classic manga Kimi wa Petto. I hope I said that correctly. If not, I apologize. And they even hint at a current or future developments in the main story as well. For example, how Caleb rebuilds the place him and MC grew up in, which was a plot point already back in Catch 22, but also now in his recent cards. Or how Silas already knew MC in her younger years and saved her, or how they got involved in a car chase scene. And then also how Zane turned into a serial killer for predators or alterum and later leaves his job. This also makes me super curious about possible parallels from Catch 22 to Xavier's and Raphael's upcoming main story involvements. Great comment, by the way. This player says, this is the only card I go back to and rewatch for each and every guy. This is the card I show to the non-players or new players that missed it. I use Silas's Catch 22 intro for my game start. The music is iconic. I think the BGM is called the City of the Unforgiven. I love it. I've been waiting for this high again, and each and every release Infold drops has been such a letdown. No more fluff. Give me whips. Give me chains. Throw me around. Let's have some fun with the boys. God damn, I feel like I will never experience again what these cards did to me. I still have the saved video of Silas's growl from the event screen. No, because this player is so real for that, okay? Now then, this next comment reads, tomorrow's Catch 22 has so far been the best banner this year, period. And while I have 4 out of 5 of the cards, Raphael/Tamino's story was so amazingly good, I still rewatch it from time to time. It really feels like a whole movie. I'm also a dark romance and not so much a fluff enjoyer. So I remember how I was stunned, blushing and giggling when I saw the trailer. Exactly how this game should make a girl feel, and the music was just a cherry on top. About the controversies, I do know there were multiple things going around, but I have to say that I feel like this banner was treated unnecessarily badly by Westerners who expected Valentine's fluff. Western Valentine's Day isn't really a thing in China, so expecting a Chinese game primarily catered to a Chinese audience to have Western themes on a Western holiday and then completely trashing a very well done banner because it didn't feels a bit entitled. Could have happened to any banner, but I feel incredibly sad because like I said, all aspects of it were so good and thoughtfully put together that it didn't deserve to receive such hate. I hope we do get more AU stuff in the future. Next up, another player says, this was my favorite multi-banner so far this year. It was also my first multi-banner since I started playing. I really hope we'll get more like this one. The whole post-apocalyptic cyberpunky theme was completely my jam with Nightstrix and Flow and Fire. Caleb's hideout in the water tower, so my jam. I still watch the cards I pulled from this banner often. Tamino lives in my head rent-free and Silas's I Need You, just like I did back then. And finally, last but not least, this player says, oh, I went ballistic during this banner. Got all 5 cards plus I R1 Xavier's for the silver outfit. I still have zero regrets. It's a damn good banner. They could have refined the mullet/wolf cuts a bit more, but wolf cut Xavier is otherworldly. I agree. I loved his card the most. Probably biased lol, but I love the idea of being his superior. Hee hee. In the Japanese dub, he calls MC senpai too, which changed my brain chemistry permanently. And so there you have it, my fellow flowers of Linkon. And honestly, I have said this in some of my previous videos in the past if you didn't know already, but tomorrow's Catch 22 remains till date my favorite banner of all time ever released since I started playing during Misty Invasion last year in mid-August of 2024. I will keep saying this, but I am over head over heels obsessed when it comes to alternate universe, dark fantasy themes, especially anything to do with like science fiction, fairy tale-esque themes. I'm actually eating that shit up all day, every day. So the idea of getting something like this is giving very S&M by Rihanna, okay, very Disturbia by Rihanna. And I'm obsessing over this because this is definitely my jam, totally my style. I do love fluffy banners just as much. But again, as a lot of players have mentioned already, it just seems like they're doing too much fluff. And who knows? Maybe Infold is trying to save the smexy, spicy stuff for like the end of the year or the anniversary for the January and February multi-banners. I feel like that's when they want to save this stuff for, if I'm being completely honest. And maybe the August banner, but we all saw what happened with the August banner this year. Either way, I'm so excited and can't wait for more alternate universe themes. What is your take on this? Do you love alternate universe themes? What sort of dark fantasy themes are you hoping that they explore? Something to do with vampires, werewolves, some sort of other dystopian fallen angel style theme? Let me know down in the comments, what are you hoping for and looking most forward to? Here's to hoping for longer stories and more darker themes explored in future banners. Until the next one, my darling flowers, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.